Somebody just cycled past. Anyway, hello Saturday. Hello Saturday. Hello everybody as well on Saturday, because of course it's still Wednesday over here. Doing well, and as you noticed in the title, we're going to talk about astrology. And if you're not interested in astrology, you might want to skip this one, because it's not really going to be very interesting for you probably. Although before you leave, I would like to say that the type of thing that most people refer to as astrology, the little columns in a magazine that say watch out for number 3 and the color red is your lucky color and that sort of thing, that's not really astrology. So if that's your impression of astrology, you might want to look into it a little bit deeper, but I'll see you in another video. So anyway, the people who are a bit more interested in it, or just want to know what the heck I'm talking about this time, I was looking through my baby book that my mom made when I was just born, and then up to about year 5 I think she put stuff in there. And after that, there were pages in there for my 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th birthday, for like birthday cards and stuff like that. She did put a couple in there, but she didn't really update it as much as she used to after that point. But I was looking there because I was hearing this whole thing about monkeypox, and this doctor that I follow, Dr. John Campbell on YouTube, who has been really good during the whole corona stuff. Giving good information, stuff like that. He was also talking about monkeypox, and he said that people are probably going to be given the smallpox vaccine to inoculate them against the monkeypox. And I think it's one of those vaccines you only need once, and I wanted to see if I had it. And I went looking through my baby book, and I found indeed a list of vaccinations, and it turns out that I had it in 85. The smallpox vaccine. In Dutch we call that waterpox. So if you have like a pox vaccine in your Dutch the baby book or whatever overview of vaccinations, waterpox, then you probably had it as well. So that should be good. It should be shielding you from most pox over there, or maybe it'll make it less effective on you. I don't know exactly. I think it's going to at least lessen the impact. But anyway, so I was looking through that book, and then I found a bunch of stuff about from like when I was actually born, the day I was born. And one of those was a report from the midwife. And she actually wrote down all the times, like when she arrived, when labor really started, and when I was actually born. And that time turned out to be about 40 minutes after my mother said that I was actually born. So apparently I was born on 17 past 2 in the afternoon, and my mom had said that I was born around 1:30 or 1:40 in the afternoon. And if you know a bit more about astrology than just your sun sign, if you're like a little bit more into it than that, then you know that the time that you were born dictates what your rising sign is, or your ascendant, and that can really change very quickly depending on what time. So initially, with the time that my mother gave me, I thought, okay, that means I'm Scorpio rising. Now, I have seen certain things about Scorpio rising that I would say do characterize me a bit. Like, I don't tend to immediately tell everybody everything that I'm thinking, and I also like to keep my distance a bit, and just stuff like that. But there's also a lot about Scorpio rising about them preferring the color black, and so they're also super mysterious, and they're very much into intimacy and stuff like that. And I never really recognized myself in that, but with this new time, 17 past 2 in the afternoon, that means that I would be Sagittarius rising. And so I looked that up, and I recognized that a lot more. Like the reluctance to talk to people is more because the Sagittarius tend to have a lot of stuff going on in their mind, and they tend to find small talk kind of boring and not productive enough to participate, and I could definitely agree with that. And a bunch of other stuff, but then they also said, oh, and their favorite colors are purple, deep blue, and deep pink. I was like, yep, that's exactly my set of favorite colors. The only thing they missed out was teal, but that's like a secondary favorite color. So I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. Anyway, so that also changed a couple other things about my birth chart, because you have like a natal chart, they call that. You can draw up a natal chart if you go to like astro.com. Fill out all your information, you get this big wheel with lots of lines and symbols on it, and it takes a long time to figure out what the heck you're looking at. So I've been doing that for the past couple of years just because I'm interested in it, because I think it's interesting to check these things out. A lot of things check out, a lot of things, particularly when I'm looking at things that have already passed, like past year descriptions. A lot of stuff checked out. Of course, it wasn't always super accurate. But it also turns out that some of my houses are different than what I thought, because it literally, the lines that you see on those charts, like they move around depending on the time of day as well, and the position of the planets is somewhere along in there as well. But me being Sagittarius rising meant that a few things were different. Like initially my Venus would be in my 10th house, and because of the change it was now in the 9th, so that makes a slight difference. Means that it's also got a what's the word again, a conjunction with different planets that I didn't know I had a conjunction with before. But the main thing that I found out today that I thought was very interesting to note is that there is this they call it an asteroid called Chiron, and it's also like referred to as the wound in your natal chart, like where your biggest issues are. And I used to have that sitting in my 6th, at least that's what I thought I had it. I thought I had it in my 6th house. It's still in Taurus, but it's moved to my 5th house. Now the 6th house is about health and pets and stuff like that. And so I thought, okay, well, I guess that means like I've always spent a lot of time being put on diets as a kid. I was put on diets a lot by my mother because she was always like complaining about how heavy I was, and at the same time also overfeeding me on Saturday. So it's like, on one hand she wanted me to lose weight, but on the other she also didn't really help much. But it is apparently in the 5th house, which is more about relationships and also creativity. So they're like that made a lot more sense to me, because it also talked about like how you would have been slighted in the past when you were being creative. And I have had a lot of experiences with me trying to be creative and having people disapprove of it, but also just wanted to make something really nice. And because the amount of effort that I put into making something nice is usually a lot more than other people put into just making something, that put me in a lot of situations where people were jealous, and therefore they started coming for me over how much I was trying to show off and stuff like that. So I always try to match my effort to other people's expected effort for like a group project stuff, so I don't stand out with the results, even though I would like to do a lot more. I don't know, it's also a thing with Sagittarius, that Sagittarius, as soon as they figure out, or Sagittarius rising in any case, that they've said as soon as they figure out that somebody is doing something that they don't like, they're like, okay, I'm out, like peace out, I'm out of here. So that was kind of like eye-opening in that sense, and I'm probably going to find a few more things about that as well, because I used to think that I had a duplication in my houses, and the opposite of that as well. Duplication is when two houses start in one sign, and I used to have 2 houses start in Taurus and a Scorpio, because it's like this line that goes from one end of the wheel to the other, so you always have like the equal but opposite on the other side of the wheel happening. So if you have a duplication in one house, then you'll have a duplication in the house opposite of the wheel as well. And that also made it so that my Leo sign and my Aquarius were not in any houses. Well, that's incorrectly. The house, they were overshadowed. Like a house started in the sign before, and then it ended in the sign after. So then this would be like Leo, and then the house 6 or 7 or whatever it was surrounding them entirely, like enveloping them entirely. And that usually means that that energy of that particular sign in your life is lessened, but that is also no longer a thing. So I guess because I did look up videos on that type of thing, like duplications and all that sort of thing, and there were certain things I thought, okay, I guess I recognize that, but not super strongly. So now it makes sense that I didn't quite recognize that. So that's also interesting. So I'm just going to keep plowing through and seeing what else I can find, because I just find it interesting, and who knows what other discoveries I can make. In any case, it's been very interesting, also very eye-opening, because the ascendant is that the thing that people see about you when they first meet you, first impressions, that type of thing, like the outer layer of a person. And then your sun sign, which is what most people call their sign, is how you are when you get past the external layer, so to speak. So I don't think I ever came off as a Scorpio in that sense. I don't think people got a Scorpio read from me. So makes sense, and it looks kind of different. It makes you look differently at yourself as well. So I found that very interesting, particularly because I was also watching, like a couple weeks ago, prediction videos on the next few months. I like to do that every once in a while to see what the planets say is going to happen, because they do tend to be very accurate. It's not always very clear what it is that they're pointing towards, but there's a lot of research that's been done into exactly what happened when and how the planets were at that point and how that makes sense and stuff like that. But some of the predictions were saying that there was going to be a point where some new information would come in and that would really change the way of thinking. And I was like, okay, sure, I'm curious to see what that's going to be. So then it turned out to be in my birth time, how that was different and how that gave me a whole new perspective on my whole natal chart and all that sort of thing. So anyway, that's it for this video, and hopefully next week we'll have a topic that more people can get into. I'm gonna go into the store because I've only just arrived in the area, and I'll see you on Tuesday for Stardew Valley, and of course on Friday we'll be back with Don't Starve Together. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, make sure to stay healthy and safe and happy and all that good stuff, and bye bye for now.